Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Rancangan kami menawarkan banyak bahasa. Sila kunjungi suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Our climate is in crisis. Our health is at stake.
A tragedy is unfolding.
The gradual warming of the Earth's atmosphere affects extreme weather like droughts and hurricanes. But did you know these types of natural disasters can play a role in disease spread and pandemic?
If you counted up the number of new infections that we have identified, it has increased. We continue to see increasing infectious disease outbreaks caused by bacteria or viruses that we did not previously know. We have created the circumstances on Earth that make it likely that this will continue.
How climate change increases the risk of infectious diseases. Part 1 of 2. Continue watching to find out more.
So my hope is that we move beyond this, and I can say with 100% confidence, as a Sufi, as a Muslim, as a human being, that when you stop eating meat, love enters your heart. The respected Shamil Prado, vegetarian.
Etret Metz, let's kennen Zeleieren, cherished viewers, which means pleased to meet you in Luxembourgish, one of the official languages of Luxembourg. My name is Alaric. The thoughtful people of Luxembourg are thankful to all the doctors, nurses, and emergency medical responders who work tirelessly to provide care to patients. May you always be in the care of the divine. Welcome to part 1 of our two-part series, How Climate Change Increases the Risk of Infectious Diseases. Climate change is one of the most dangerous crises facing Earth today. As global temperatures continue to rise, ever more frequent and intense droughts, floods, hurricanes, wildfires, mudslides, melting ice sheets, and rising sea levels threaten our very existence. However, in recent months, scientists have begun reporting a potentially even more deadly consequence of climate change, a dramatic increase in infectious diseases.
Climate change is causing temperatures to rise, allowing mosquitoes, ticks, and fleas to move into new areas. Could they bring diseases with them? And is the world ready to deal with this looming threat?
Scientists say the number of new infectious diseases in humans like SARS, MERS, and COVID-19 has risen dramatically over the last decades. There's not just more types of diseases. The number of outbreaks is rising too. In fact, the number of outbreaks of all diseases has roughly tripled since 1980.
If you sat down systematically and counted up the number of new infections that we have identified, it has increased. We continue to see increasing infectious disease outbreaks caused by bacteria or viruses that we did not previously know. We have created the circumstances on Earth that make it likely that this will continue.
Scientists are now discovering that climate change is causing a rise in infectious diseases. In a study published in the August 2022 issue of the journal Nature Climate Change, researchers reported that 58% of all known infectious diseases will likely be aggravated by climate change.
A new study by the University of Hawaii at Manoa looks at how climate change impacts human pathogenic diseases. According to researchers, over half of known pathogenic diseases can be aggravated by greenhouse gas emissions. The scientists looked at examples of numerous climate hazards sensitive to greenhouse gases, which include drought, floods, sea level rise, and more. Research revealed warming, precipitation, floods, drought, and more were all found to influence diseases triggered by things like viruses, bacteria, animals, and fungi.
According to the study, many climate-induced effects, such as the release of long-dormant pathogens from melting permafrost and the population explosion of virus-carrying mosquitoes, could have a devastating impact on human health. Lead author Dr. Camilo Mora, a professor at the University of Hawaii, Manoa, warns the disease crisis is like a meteorite hurtling towards us. Indeed, the meteorite is here. We cannot ignore it. In another study published in the April 2022 issue of the journal Nature, scientists warn that global warming could also significantly increase the risk of new zoonotic diseases. Zoonotic diseases are caused when viruses carried by animal-people hosts jump to humans, either through direct contact or indirect contact through the soil or water. According to the U.S. Center for Disease Control, or CDC, zoonotic diseases account for 60% of all current diseases and 75% of all emerging diseases. The most recent example of a zoonotic disease was COVID-19. The World Health Organization, or WHO, stated that the COVID-19 virus was possibly transmitted from a bat person to another animal person and then to human beings. In an April 2022 study, the researchers state that global warming is forcing animal people to migrate to new geographic areas in search of more favorable living conditions. The scientists warn that this mass migration of animal people will significantly increase the risk of new pandemics.
Animals will be forced to relocate to new places to track the changing climates that we have inflicted upon the planet. As they do that, species that never previously coexisted will suddenly encounter each other for the first time. And the viruses that those species uniquely harbor will get chances to jump into new hosts. And that increases the risk of new diseases occurring in not only these animals, but then eventually in ourselves. The new study shows that these events are happening at an increasing pace, to an alarming degree.
The researchers warn that as viruses start to jump between host species at unprecedented rates, the impacts on human health could be devastating. Dr. Colin Carlson, a global change biologist from Georgetown University and lead author of the study, states, at least 15,000 new cross-species viral sharing events are projected by 2070 as a result of climate change-driven reorganization of mammal distribution. Although many believe that the COVID-19 pandemic is a once-in-a-lifetime event, Dr. Carlson disagrees, saying, all of this could happen again tomorrow. He further warns that multiple pandemics could strike simultaneously if this many viruses are undergoing host jumps this much. Scientists are now warning that in coming years, pandemics and diseases could be among the biggest threats to humanity.
we live in an era where the risk of something like COVID is just part of the background of our lives. It will happen again. So we need to be ready.
Vegan, 'cause we want to be heaven-like beings, to go to heaven.
We'll take a moment now to pray that all people on Earth soon adopt the vegan lifestyle to halt climate change and protect our health. We'll be back after this message. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television.
A tragedy is unfolding.
The adverse effects of climate change are increasingly becoming visible throughout the world.
Our climate is in crisis. Our health is at stake.
Welcome back to our program, How Climate Change Increases the Risk of Diseases. While the world struggles to cope with the COVID-19 pandemic, several other highly infectious diseases, fueled by rising temperatures and climate-related catastrophes, are either emerging, rapidly increasing in incidence, or occurring in expanded geographic ranges. One zoonotic disease that recently began to spread to a much broader geographic area is monkeypox. According to the WHO, monkeypox was previously endemic only to Africa. However, in May 2022, the monkeypox virus began infecting people in several other non-endemic countries. By July 2022, the outbreak had exploded to almost 16,000 cases in 75 countries, and the WHO declared monkeypox to be a public health emergency of international concern. Monkeypox causes fever, headache, extreme fatigue, respiratory problems, and swollen lymph nodes. The US CDC states that currently there is no treatment for the disease. Another deadly zoonotic disease that has recently resurfaced throughout several African countries is Ebola. An Ebola virus infection causes headaches, fever, vomiting, stomach pain, and severe bleeding. There is also no approved treatment for Ebola, and it is fatal for approximately 50% of all people who contract it. During 2022, a highly infectious strain of avian influenza or bird-people flu raged throughout many parts of the world. Bird-people flu is a zoonotic disease caused by a highly contagious avian influenza type A virus. The virus is frequently fatal for infected domestic chicken, turkey, duck, and geese people and can also affect some types of wild bird people. In 2022, Europe experienced its worst outbreak of bird-people flu on record. Meanwhile, in the USA, more than 47 million chicken and turkey people either died from bird-people flu or were killed in an effort to prevent its further spread. Although rare, bird-people flu can also be transmitted to humans, where it has a high mortality rate. According to the WHO, over the past 2 decades, bird-people flu has been fatal for about 50% of those who contracted it. How can we reduce the threat of future pandemics from infectious diseases? Dr. Aaron Bernstein, Director of the Center for Climate, Health, and the Global Environment at Harvard University's Chan School of Public Health, states that through these newly emerging diseases and pandemics, nature is trying to tell us something. He says, we can't deal with pandemics with band-aids, meaning after waiting until diseases show up and then trying to figure out how to solve them. We need to protect habitats, We need to tackle climate change. We need to address the risk of large-scale livestock production, because a lot of the pathogens move from wild animals into livestock and then into people. Many experts say that the easiest way to resolve most of the issues facing Earth today, including climate change and pandemics, is a global shift to the vegan lifestyle. These experts stress that there is an urgent need to bring about this change now, before it's too late.
Climate change, the risk of pandemics, the mass extinction of our wildlife, they're all part of the same problem. And unless we can muster the collective will on both sides of the political spectrum to really address it, we are going to be in trouble. We're going to see more of what happened over the last 3 years.
Many thanks to the scientists and medical experts whose research reveals that climate change is increasing the risk of infectious diseases. May you be blessed for your noble efforts to protect the lives of all beings.
All information concerning the scientific evidence of climate change and its solution is in Supreme Master Ching Hai's book, From Crisis to Peace, free for download at crisistopeace.org.
Vegan, the harvester of merit.
Concerned viewers, thank you for your company today. Please join us again next Monday, February 20th, for the concluding episode of How Climate Change Increases the Risk of Diseases. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television for giving hope to animal people in need. Mountain Angels Sanctuary and Rescue, Part 2 of 2. Up next, right after Noteworthy News. We wish you a long, healthy, joyful life in a peaceful vegan world.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/PE.